Hi, and welcome to everyone watching on behalf of the charity, the Leukaemia Cancer Society. My name is Harry Christopher, and I'm the Vice Chairman of the charity. The charity is dedicated to increasing the number of donors on the bone marrow register, helping patients find their life-saving bone marrow donor to treat their blood cancer or disorder. We're here today to let people know that there is a constant demand for donors. The more donors there are on the register, the better the chances are for the patients who need them. But getting people on the register can be difficult. A few years ago, I was lucky enough to be able to donate bone marrow to a blood cancer patient. It was an opportunity to possibly save a life, and I was honoured to be given that chance, given the chance to do that, a chance that I would never have had if I hadn't been on the register. Today, I'll be speaking with Maggie Marshall, who was a bone marrow donor not once, but 4 times, which is simply incredible, amazing thing. So welcome, Maggie, and thanks for being with us, being here with us today. How are you?
I'm very well, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Lovely, lovely. So my first kind of question to you is, how did you come about joining the register? How was it that you were on the register?
Well, I think it was a long time back in the early 80s, because I've been a regular blood donor since the early 80s, and it was just a natural extension of that. And I actually think I forgot I was on the register. And then there was an appeal for 3 brothers down in Southampton who all required stem cell donations. So I joined up again then. So I was on the register for a long, long time before I became a match, over 20 years. So I'd almost forgotten about it.
How did it feel when you were contacted and told that you were a possible match?
Well, I mean, it was obviously, I was really, really excited, and I thought, oh my goodness, I just can't believe this. But I think once you get into the process, you feel a huge sense of responsibility for your recipient. So you want to make sure that you keep healthy and look after yourself, so that what you're giving them is really good.
Yeah. And so your friends and family around you, how did they all feel?
They were very proud. I was very lucky. They were all very, very supportive. I was really lucky. My mum and dad were very proud, and my sister. In fact, my sister and friends came with me for the medicals, because as you probably know, Harry, you have to go through quite a lengthy medical, which is good. It's good for you to find out things. So,
did you find you had specific questions? Was there anything that stands out that you wanted to know before you actually went through with it?
I was really lucky, because as you know, you have some counselling, and I think they really answered all my questions. The only thing was very unusual for me, because I donated by the peripheral blood stem cell collection the first time, and they didn't get enough stem cells, so then I had to go through a bone marrow harvest. And then I was a bit, I'm not quite sure about this. But after about, I did come round to the idea, because I thought somebody really needs this. I thought, I don't know why I'm being so selfish, somebody needs this. So it didn't take me long to decide that I must do it. So that was the only time, really. I was exceptionally well looked after.
And you had the procedures you had. Just explain to everyone listening, what was the difference between the 2 procedures that you had for the
Yeah, right. There's 90% of people give by what's known as a peripheral stem cell blood collection, which means it's a bit like a long version of giving blood. So they give you some injections to stimulate the stem cells into your bloodstream over a course of days, and then you go to the hospital and you sit on. It's a bit like a dialysis machine. They put a needle in one arm and a needle in the other arm, and then they just siphon off what they need. But that does take about 4 or 5 hours. Probably boredom is the worst thing, although I have to say there's always plenty to watch in hospital, and of course they've got Wi-Fi, so for young people, if you've got your phones or iPads, you can watch films and things. The only thing is, it's not easy to go to the loo. That's the only problem. And the other way is the traditional bone marrow harvest, which is slightly more onerous. It's a 2-night stay in the hospital, and they take it from your pelvic bone, really. So, but again, they put you under a general anaesthetic. And again, for me, and I have to say for me, because everybody's different, it wasn't painful. I was just tired at the end of it, but it definitely wasn't painful. And I would like to stress that to anybody that listens to this interview. And you do have a wonderful sense of pride an honour at being potentially saving a life.
So, and afterwards, were you in much discomfort? Did you?
No, I think I had a couple of little bruises, and as I say, apart from being tired, and actually I thought it gave me a good excuse to not do much for the next week. So, you know, it was quite nice, really, and you know, I was very lucky. As I say, I underwent 3 bone marrow harvests in the end because I had 2 recipients, and I wouldn't have done that if it had really been painful or I was frightened. I wasn't. It was, you know, it's really, to my mind, it's the easiest thing you can do to make somebody else's life better. And it might not save their life, but it does provide hope. Without donors, there is no hope.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, you donated to somebody else a few years later as well.
I think in 2013, I got another call. And so this was for a different recipient, and I think it was a child. I don't really know anything about my recipients, but and so I did the bone marrow harvest for them at the London clinic, and then a year later they needed a bit of a top up, so I went again. In fact, the anaesthetist said to me, he said, I've known people who've given twice, I've never known anyone to come back 3 times.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely amazing, and the fact that you did give it 3 times, it's quite an amazing thing. So with your experience behind you, what would you say to anyone potentially interested in joining the register or getting involved? What would you say to them?
Well, I think certainly for me, I don't think I will ever do anything as important as that. I'm not able to donate anymore now, so my thing now is to raise awareness and to encourage other people onto the register, and they need all sorts of different people from different backgrounds, because if you're white, you're much more likely to find that match. Unfortunately, if you're from an ethnic background, it becomes that much more difficult. So it's really important to not only grow the register, but diversify it as well.
Yeah, we need to, as I said at the beginning, there's a shortage of donors in every community, but in some of the smaller communities, it's even harder. So it's really important that the message gets out there, that we can,
yes,
register as much as possible.
I think it is really important to raise awareness and burst those myths, because there's still a lot of myths about how painful it is. And as I say, 90% of people give by the PBSCH, or however it's said, the peripheral blood stem cell collection route, which is like in blood. And that's really, it's just very little of your time to give up, I think. I was so well looked after, and I donated by the NHS Blood and Transplant. I was very well looked after and supported by them afterwards as well. So, and I know that Anthony Nolan and DKMS UK, they all support their donors, which is marvellous.
No, it's amazing. My last question was going to be, would you do it again? But of course you did do it again. Would you do it again? Would you?
If I was allowed, most certainly, I wouldn't have any qualms. I mean, the second and third time they asked me, I didn't hesitate to say yes. And as I say, you get to potentially save a life. So, you can't do anything more than that, than to give them hope.
No. And it's a fantastic thing to be able to do. And it's good for you. It's good for us as well. I always said that if I did nothing else in my life, doing this was an important thing. It would be counted as one of the most important things you will ever do. Yeah,
and I agree. And actually, even after donating, I do give talks in colleges and for Anthony Nolan, and it's opened up a whole new door. I've met some amazing people through this, so I don't regret doing it at all. It's been one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah. Mine too. So yeah, I'd like to say thanks to Maggie for coming on today and speaking with us. It truly is an inspirational story, an amazing story. And I hope that everyone watching and listening are inspired to find out more about leukemia and blood cancers, and maybe even consider going onto the bone marrow register themselves. Joining the register could save a life, so always bear that in mind. If you'd like to know more, I believe the website and some details will be coming up on the screen soon. So thank you again, Maggie, for sharing your story, and hopefully we'll be back soon with another inspirational story. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.